Alright, so today we're going to do completing the square. Whenever you have a quadratic expression like this with an x square and an x term, okay, we will be able to complete the square. Now, the rule is this. The first one is x square must have a coefficient of 1. X square must have a coefficient of positive 1, not just 1. Now, what is happening is, I will have an x square here. So x square is a perfect square. With what length do I have if it's a perfect square? I will have the length x and x. Any number can be divided by 2. Any real number can be divided by 2, right? So I'm going to divide this by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. I choose an easy number so that it's nicer. It can be odd number as well. So I just choose, I will have 5 here and I'll have another 5. So what is happening is, I will have a 5 here, correct? And I will have another 5. Why do I do that? 5 times x, what is the area here? 5x. Just now I have x squared. 5 times x, what is the area? Again, 5x. Now look at the total area of this diagram. What is the total area? X squared plus 10x. Is it a perfect square already? Look at the picture. No. So x squared plus 10x is not a perfect square yet. I am supposed to make it a perfect square so that later I can find maximum, minimum values. I must make it a perfect square. So the missing part is actually this red color part. What is the area of this red color part? 25, right? 5 times 5. Okay, very good, 5 times 5. So I must add. You remember just now I divide the 10 by 2? Okay, I must add this. And I have 5 and I have a 5 here. So this is 10 over 2, this is 10 over 2. If you do not understand, let me write it as 10 over 2. And what must I do with this 10 over 2? I must square it in order to get the red color part. However, in mathematics, you cannot just add for no reason. If I have added this, I must also remove it back. Can you see that I still have only the blue part? So, which part is the perfect square? This is the diagram, only this part. So, if I form it as a perfect square, I will have, what's the length here? Yeah. 5 plus x or x plus 5. So this is the perfect square. But, you see, the perfect square is too big already, right? I must remove away this amount, which is 10 over 2 squared. Okay. So I will have x plus 5 squared minus away 25. Because x plus 5 squared was not our original questions. Our original question is only the blue part. If I make it x plus 5 perfect square, I must minus away this 25 in order to get back the original expression x squared plus 10x. So that is how we complete the square. Now this form here is called the vertex form. If you Google, it will be called the vertex form. No teacher use the word vertex form. We always say this is in the completing the square form. It is not official, but we say it. So when the teacher say I want it to be in completing the square form, it is this. In actual terminology, it is actually the vertex form. Okay? So our job now is, wow, very complicated. So how do I complete the square using the Winnie the Pooh song? Okay, so we are doing shortcut now that we understand the concept. So first, everyone set this up. Just do like that. Okay, and then we will sing the song, completing the square, half dx and put in bracket. So I have half dx and put in bracket. Because it's a plus, I follow. But the next word is very important. Subtract the square. So it must always subtract of that number there. Subtract the square of that number there. That's how we complete the square. Done already. Okay, no, your turn, your turn. Okay, so that's almost the end of my recording lah. So later we will do it more casually. Okay, so let's say I have x squared plus 8x. Okay, how do we complete the square? Okay, sing together. Ready? Set up the thing first. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Completing the square. Dx and put in bracket. Subtract the square of that number there. That's how we complete the square. Okay, now I'm going to, you can stop the video. Square, instead of plus, yeah. So instead of plus, right, I put a minus now, I put a minus. And instead of a nice whole even number, I put a odd number. But please help me press calculator, Ken. Okay, I need you to help me, get ready your calculator. And I will have a simple, let's say, plus 1 now. Okay, we are going to complete the square now. Okay, first, okay, can we start the, yes, can we start already, Okay, we will first need to divide everything by 2 because the condition was that x squared must have coefficient plus 1. So this is the A max part you will not learn in E max lesson later. We will have to take out the 2. So when I factorize out the 2, I will be left with x squared minus 2.5 x plus 1. The plus 1 don't need to touch because I only need to complete the square here only. So what you can do is something called a side working. For those who are very easily confused, let's do a side working for this. Now things are easier. Okay, let's do a side working. We do a setup now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Completing the square. Completing the square. Half dx and put in bracket. How much do I put? Plus or minus? Minus 5/4. Yeah. So some of you may say that it is actually 1.25. It is okay. Why minus now? Because I follow the sign. Half dx and put in bracket. Subtract the square of that number there. Subtract the square, I will get. That's how we complete the square. What is missing? Okay, so I will have to do that later. So for this part, nothing else is missing already. We are done. So what we need to do is, we have to add in the red color parts because we have already completed the square. So I have x minus 5/4 square minus 25/16 plus 1. There's a mistake here. What's the mistake? Very, very common, serious mistake. It's not the sign. It's not about the sign. Oh, yeah, it's not about the sign, right? I copy exactly. Something is wrong, yes? Yeah, I am completing the square and I'm multiplying the whole thing by 2. So I need to multiply this whole thing by 2, okay, which is what she said. This one also need to multiply by 2. So the final form in blue is like that. Okay, multiply by 2. Please multiply by 2. Let me draw the arrow. And plus 1. Okay, now is your calculator time. Can somebody tell me what's the final constant towards the end? Correct. 8/8 Okay, so 25 minus 8 is 17/8. Okay, so that's how we complete the square. Yeah, we are done. Okay, so before we go, everybody